Hi, thank you for joining the live stream. This is the Heart of Passion poetry show. And so the show is named after my book, Heart of Passion. This is a poetry book. And I am Angelique Rico. And so I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I wanted to tell you the origins of my poetry, what caused me to publish my book in the first place. So, I have several reasons that led up to me publishing my poetry. And so, when I was a child in fifth grade, um, there was this story that I had to read for literature class. And the story was about the falcon bird. And the teacher gave an assignment. Uh, the assignment was to tell about the main character in the story. And so there were two options for the assignment. The first option was to make a presentation by standing in front of the classroom. The second option was to write a poem. So at that age in fifth grade, I had a timid personality. I was an introvert. And I'm still somewhat of an introvert today. Today, I'm just more comfortable to be social when I want to. And so at that tender age of 10 years old, I was very much an introvert. I was timid. And so I knew I did not want to stand in front of the classroom. I knew I did not want to give a presentation in front of the class. That idea just made me terrified and very nervous. So I chose to do the second option. And the second option was to write a poem. And so the teacher explained what a poem is, and the teacher demonstrated how to write a poem. And so the teacher gave the guideline on how to write the poem, and I was very comfortable with doing the writing assignment. So I chose to write the poem, and that was my introduction to writing poetry. And so I noticed for the rest of the school year, I kept writing poems in my diary. So whenever something happened at school or just happened in my family or happened in my neighborhood between me and my friends, I would write a poem. And so um, I learned early on in my childhood that writing poetry and writing stories, it made me feel better. It helped me to express what I couldn't really express in words, or writing poetry helped me to express the things that I thought that I could talk about, or writing poetry helped me to express things that I um, just didn't want to talk about right then in the moment. So the pen and paper became like my best friend. So I noticed for the rest of my childhood, I would first write in my diary, and then I would go talk to my parents and talk to my father, talk to my mother, or talk to my grandparents, or talk to my uncles and aunts. Um, and so writing poetry, I figured out in my teenage years that my poems were therapeutic for me. Um, my poems help me to organize my thoughts on paper, and then I would go talk to my family. And then it was like first I had to write my poem, and writing the poem gave me the confidence to talk to family members about whatever it was that I needed to talk about. And so The other reason about why I write poetry is that in my adult years, I noticed that I kept filling up notebooks and notepads with poems. And so um, I noticed that, like, year after year, I kept collecting notepads and kept collecting notebooks, and I have stacks of notebooks and stacks of notepads filled with poems. And so I began to think to myself, how many more years am I going to write poems and just share them with family and friends, not really share them with anyone outside of my circle? I thought to myself, how many more years am I going to write poetry and write short stories and kind of keep my creative writing tucked away in a treasure box? I thought to myself, I know I'm going to keep writing poetry. I have been writing for all my life. At some point, I should publish my poems and share these stories with people, share the poetry with people who appreciate poetry and love to read poetry. And so, um, to share my different perspective on different situations in life, basically different stories of what I've gone through and different things of what other people have gone through. I express that in my poems. And so the other reason that I published my poetry is this: I have always been a poetess, poetess. Most people say poet, but I'm a woman, so poetess is the female version of a poet. So as a poetess, I needed to come out of my shell and stop hiding and publish my poetry for all of the world to see. Um, I know what my gifts and talents are. And so I reached a point in my life that I was just ready to be that real poet that I've always been. Basically, I was ready to um, just be more comfortable as being a poet and go outside of my circle, like go outside of my family, go outside of my friends, and really communicate with people who I do not know, but I'm getting to know them, and communicate with different people with my poetry. So yeah, publishing my poetry book, it has helped me to just feel comfortable about being a writer. I write poems and I write song lyrics. And so yeah, those are the reasons why I decided to publish my poem, or publish my poems. So in this book, there are 68 poems total. Um, some poems are very short, one page. Some poems are 2 and 3 pages. Um, and so I know someone did ask a question in the comments about writer's block. Either the question is, what do I think about writer's block, or do I get writer's block? And so for writer's block, I myself have not experienced writer's block, so I cannot explain how writer's block might have an impact on a creative writer. I just know for myself, I just write and write and write. Um, I look at the world, and there are just so many things to see that's happening. And when I look at the world, I'm talking about I go outside of my circle. I go outside of my family circle. I go outside of my friend circle, and I pay attention to things that I watch on the news. And there's different types of news that I watch: technology, science, politics, um, just different things that I watch. And so, because I always notice something new and different, then I always have something new and different to write about, to be honest. My inspiration for writing, it comes from nature, spirituality, conversations that I have with people who I know, um, going to parties, having a social life. I get inspired by fashion accessories. I'm wearing this rhinestone mask. It's a butterfly shaped mask with rhinestones, and so I get inspired by fashion accessories. I get inspired by the smell of cologne. I get inspired by the smell of perfume. I get inspired by going to the nail salon. I get inspired by shopping. I get inspired by fashion trends. And so there's so many different things for me to get inspired by and to write about. Um, my favorite season is winter, and so I have uh, poems in my poetry book that are about nature and about weather. And so, yeah, for myself, the writer's block doesn't apply to me because, um, yeah, it like I always just find something new and different to write about. Like seriously, there's like things to write about. Is it like things to think about? Just goes on and on and on forever. um, and so I wanted to share a poem with you. All right, and so with this poem is inspired by a combination of two things. So I combine reality with fantasy. Um, so sometimes I use exaggeration in my poems, and the exaggeration is the fantasy part. And so with this poem, I was thinking of how wonderful it is to experience passionate moments with your significant other, and that I kind of wanted to exaggerate a little bit. Um, so the exaggeration is the poem title itself. So the poem title says, "A Million Kisses All Over Again." A million kisses I give to you. I can never love you too much. A million wishes I grant to you. I can never cherish you too much. I love every word you speak. I do absolutely adore you. I listen to your heartbeat. Every moment is captivating. You speak softly. A million years from now, I would do this all over again. I have no regrets about us. I would relive all over again. You would have the same face. You would have the same name. You would be in the same place. A million years from now, I would choose you all over again. I can never love you too much. A million wishes I grant to you. I can never cherish you too much. A million memories I share with you. I can never be with you too much. And so, this poem you can imagine, or maybe you already can experience this, but you can feel and know how great, how wonderful it is to give a million kisses again and again to your special someone. So, yeah. Um, I never count the number of kisses. I just don't. Maybe there is someone who does count how many times they kiss their significant other. Maybe you do like to count how many times that you kiss your special someone. I think that's cute. I think that's a good thing to do. So thank you for joining me on this live stream. Thank you for listening to my poetry. And thank you for getting the book. It is available at Amazon. You can also get the book at my website, angeliquecarrico.com. And you can talk with me some more on social media. I'm pretty active on social media, so you can find me at Angelique Carrico Official on all my social media. I'm on Lemon8. I'm on Instagram, the Instagram threads, the YouTube, the Facebook, and TikTok. So yeah, you could definitely find me and talk to me some more on my social media pages. So thank you so much for your support, and I will talk to you again. Have a good day.